up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, cloud swing traders? Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. We got Albert in the house. Good morning to you. We got Anna, Bill, Cheryl, Sydney, Corey, Jay, Jeff. Good morning to Joe, Martina, Matthew, Peter, Shane, Tim. The squadron is here. Woo. All my peeps out YouTube land. We got Jennifer Level. Good morning to you. We got Callie. I'm not sure how to say that. Callie. I'll just go Callie. Good morning to you. All my lurkers in the background. I appreciate you joining us each and every day. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. Let me know if you guys got tickers you want to take a look at. But yesterday was wild. Kind of just like bounced out of nowhere. And they gave it all back right at the end. So, woo. Yeah, we were looking at this one live during trading. And we're like, well, there's your 3-bar reversal that we got in. We got a very strong reversal signal. But that was a steep drop that we just had. We were looking for some kind of like bounce. And honestly, unless you were just gonna go first little reversal signal in the market and you were gonna jump on that one, you got paid pretty well. Otherwise, if you were being a patient panda, just kind of waiting for a pullback, it never really came in, right? So obviously we had even taken that reversal. I'm like, okay, maybe we get this little pullback. But yeah, somewhere around 540 could have got held up. That's some pre-market resistance. We had 540.82 pre-market resistance, and they just kept bidding it up until they didn't. I don't know. I don't know what happened, but then it was complete reverse to the downside. So again, if you were in something bullish, and I'm just looking at the spot now, so maybe there's another stock out there, but a lot of the stocks looked exactly the same in terms of where it bounced, and then we just kind of got the sell off all day. So there's definitely some money to be made. We did make a little bit on some trades, but uh, difficult trading. We'll see what today has in store for us. We do have Shop is definitely on my list. So is QCOM. Yep, both of those I've got on there. I've been looking at those ones pre-market too. Uh, Spy. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna say again, I don't know. Yeah. So we do have a gap up today. Still inside day candle. We still have yesterday's VPOC 543.09. We're still gonna get back into this resistance from over here. So somewhere around this like 544 zone. I have 2 days ago, VPOC 544.51s. So we're still not really above any levels. We are doing a little bit of a dead cat bounce. This is a pretty big sell-off. Again, going from this 565.11 minus this one little bounce, it's been straight down about 30 points. So about $30 on the SPY. We've been dropping. We did run into my imaginary number. I don't put too much weight on it, although I should start doing it because it's somehow been a really good spot for bouncing and support and resistance. So we did bounce off that. If you want to put any weight into that, even if we're looking at the volume candles, again, we had some volume yesterday. It was decent, not bad, but we're not above that volume yet from the VPOC, at least from that day. We're not breaking that candle. We have even more volume coming the day before this Wednesday, straight down bear day into that 100 or the 50. Didn't We got to get through that VPOC. We got to get through the highs of that candle. And it's just I don't want to say I'm comfortable being a bull yet, although I could see an opportunity for the bulls to try to get in. So I kind of like what Jeremy was doing. He's like, man, I went all cash essentially at the highs, and I'm putting about 20% back into the market. So we'll see. Qs, not much of a different story on the Qs. Good bounce off that 100. Again, we do have decent volume. We actually had more volume on the Qs yesterday than we did the day before. So Qs pretty decent in terms of volume, but the question is, what are we going to do around 463.66? That's my resistance. If we are able to break through that resistance, the next one up is 467.30, but we did already yesterday. We came in, we retested it, we rejected it. And I guess that was your spot yesterday, just kind of looking for where some of that reversal would come in. Keep in mind, we opened at the pretty much the lows of the day yesterday. Instead of retesting, we dropped first, then we came up, and then we redropped. So it took a while to get to that resistance, but once we finally did, we kind of just fell apart. So that was a decent location if you're going short. But the bigger thing now is well, we did retest it, so it might be a little bit easier for us to get higher. If we can break that, and we still have two levels to get through. It's not an easy task, but if we can break that, we could see a move back to this 473.68. It's also Friday. We got a 2-day weekend. I don't know. Does people want to hold over this weekend? I'm not really quite sure. So we'll take it as it comes today, but I'm not extremely bullish. If I see us start to break some of those levels, I'll get a little bit more kind of like leaning bullish, probably smaller targets. I don't know if I see anything too crazy. There was a couple tickers out there, so I'll put some at the top of my list already. Um, we'll start with Shopify since I saw that one coming first. Not a bad play. So bigger picture, this is creating some kind of we had some decent level of support down here. We broke out fantastically. If you missed it or you sold up here, you want to look to get back into your other shares. Okay, nice little retest into 59.26. That's good. The bottom of that wick got into some of the almost lower end of that consolidation. So not bad there. We do have some room to go in a bullish direction on this one. It is technically a green candle, although it's a hot highway. It is a green candle. So yesterday, even though we had that wick that dropped outside of Wednesday's candle, essentially we opened and closed inside of yesterday or Wednesday. So I'm assuming this is the candle to really watch for. Therefore, I think we pull back. I don't think I'd want to buy it at this level. I think if we get some kind of a pullback into the 60.15 zone, probably a little lower, 60.09. So if we could retrace at least some of this, we have a little resistance we're opening to here. There's nothing really back until at least on this chart, 59.68, 59.71. And then so I don't think we have to worry about that. That was already retested. So I think a pullback on this one would be good. Regardless, though, we do have a decent range, providing that we could get above those two. I got one more spot we can get stalled out at 61.73. Anything past there? I got 62.09, and then really we're looking for like 62.74. So long-term picture, maybe even swing trade picture. There might be some spots to get in. Again, I'd be looking to get in at least for risk to reward because we do have a few levels that can hold us up. I don't know if we could break through. I mean, this with this market, we'll see all-time highs today on Shop, but who knows? But I think I'd have to wait until I get this pullback till 60.15. I do have this one pretty high on my list though. QCOM, I saw it in there as well. Uh, QCOM looks pretty good. Again, we are gapping almost outside of yesterday's candle. We'll see where this one opens. So it depends on when we look at it. Pretty close to that 200. We have a little bit ways to go. We never really came down for this gap fill, at least in terms of swing trade. Getting some kind of a stop probably below yesterday's candle would make some sense. Get stopped out, and you're going to try it again probably right at that 200. Looking for this gap fill at that point. But we're just inside this candle that we first kind of got that nice little gap up above all that pivot. So this should be some kind of support. We also, with that wick, we have a little bit of a potential bear trap. So some people looking for this gap fill probably took a short underneath this candle. They're trapped at close. They don't really have to react too much at close because they're not down to that crazy. And then today, I think we were trapping a lot more shorts on this one. So QCOM I like. Targets, again, not the best. I got 182.04, so it's not like we're probably swinging it out of the park on this one. If we could get through that 182.04, though, the next VPOC I have, and I don't know if I would go up here, but 187.41, I'd probably look at this one from over here. That would take us kind of into that back into that 100 EMA. So somewhere around this 185.95, maybe a slightly lower print than that. But we got room. We got one little resistance. So I got QCOM on the list. We'll see. Again, still inside day. I would like to see a pullback. I would love to see us kind of come in, retest this 178.31 as some kind of a buy opportunity to take a stab at it. I don't think I want to get too aggressive today. I'll say that. So either I'll probably end up missing a bunch of trades and I'm fine with that, or maybe catch one and sneak some wins out. Tesla, 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 Tesla. Yeah. I think if we break the low of yesterday's candle, go short. Have have some swings, have some puts. I think we break down yesterday's candle. We have a decent pullback. First target again, which again, we hit this pre-market, or we got very close to it. 209.79. So that's kind of hit already. I think if we start breaking down the low of yesterday, that is a spot. We probably get held up a little bit, but eventually I think we do break down. We're looking for at least probably a push to that 200, if not back to like this 196.88. So for now, we're still inside again Wednesday's candle. We're still inside yesterday's candle. We are opening at resistance. I think at open, this is probably looking for a fade. We'll see what happens. But I'm looking for a fade maybe into the closing price, 220.45. If not, we come back down to this 218.54. So if you're impatient, you don't want to wait for this breakdown of this candle, you could probably go bearish at open. Again, there's a chance you get stopped out, but there's a chance for anything. And then I, I don't know if I would put my stop right above that candle, but I think above this VPOC. So somewhere around 229.50 would be your stop for a swing trade basis, seeing if we get some kind of little bounce. But ultimately, you're really looking to hold this resistance from yesterday. Not really looking to break it. If we do break it, I'm probably going bullish, right? Same thing. We have risk to reward to the downside if this thing breaks, and really your confirmation is we break the lows of the day, if or lows of yesterday. If we don't do that, then that's our support. I could see us getting in long here and also riding it maybe into this gap fill, but again, I think this 229 zone is going to hold us up a tad, especially today. Maybe if it's overextended, we get into that 20 EMA. So I go either way. I don't really have a good edge on one or the other. But again, right under this VPOC, if you're going to take a stab at it, that's probably where you want to lean short. See if there's a little bit of an intraday pullback and then maybe a better buy spot to go long. We shall see. But not a huge edge on that one. Leonard says AMD. Oh, we're about 50% of yesterday's candle. The positive side of it is, again, are we overextended? Are we oversold? Probably. Most likely. We are above the VPOC from yesterday, providing the next 15 minutes we don't drop under. So watch for this 141.30 level. If we start breaking that, we might have more issues to the downside on this one. If we don't and we go bullish on this one, I think looking at the top of yesterday's candle would be my first location, 144.13. Otherwise, probably we could get into, maybe this might be a little extended, but 146.65. We never really got back up there for retest, so I think that's going to be a pretty strong resistance. So I think we could probably target 146.65. But again, you want this 140.30 to hold. So we'll get this one a little higher. It's got some good range on it. R size below 30 on AMD. Yeah. Maybe a little oversold. Tad. probably probably looking for a bounce somewhere. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna watch that one actually really closely at open because we do, and this is all gonna. If I think that we get stalled out at the high of yesterday, that's still a $3 move. We can make something happen. If we get to that target, that would be really, really good trade. So we shall see. Let's see. We also got CrowdStrike, CRWD. I'll take a look at Hood next. CrowdStrike. I don't know. Is that a good analysis? Just I don't know. I don't know. Crowd. Um, I'm not. If you're buying it for the long term and you like these prices, fantastic. You do have some. I mean, that close yesterday wasn't great whatsoever. We are starting to get above this 260.57. Again, it's probably another one that is a little bit oversold. I think we have a good risk to reward on this trade as a swing. If we start breaking down yesterday's candle on this one, the next stop 234.60, that's a small level. I don't think we really hang on to it. Then we're probably looking at 208, 207.63, something like that. And then I think we'll start getting back to this 200 level, slightly under 200. So if we could hang into yesterday's candle, what makes this one difficult is obviously we're below all moving averages. That's going to be tough. Um, I would also say we are below these big volume candles that came in. We do have some wide open gaps. I kind of like throwing my stop here. Stop on this one. I think lawsuit announcements start coming soon. Most likely. But in a weird way, it depends on what the lawsuits are, right? So if it's like the company is getting sued for their products and sued for XYZ, um, maybe, but I think a lot of it, but I wouldn't be surprised if the market, if the market is actually pricing in lawsuits already. Like this is a big move. Again, I don't think their financials really took a hit. I think it's more so obviously sentiment that the company is horrific and there will be some fallout from what just happened with them. But I don't think I would really mind trying something like that. I think we could easily get to our target to the higher side. Uh, I don't think that's a horrible swing, actually. But for us to get there, we have to clear out all those volume candles. That's my biggest concern. And if we start clearing those, then I think that 200 could breach. And I think so. It's not a bad spot to add for the long term. If you like CrowdStrike, you've been looking at it like somewhere around 320, got you really excited for CrowdStrike. All right, well, 250 should be a home run spot. Again, could we come down lower than here? Maybe, but I think if we do, we come a lot lower. So I don't know. I don't know if it's ready to buy yet. Again, I don't mind the spot, but I'm kind of worried about the resistance on the way up to it. Let me go with Hood. And I think Bitcoin is we're out of the swing, by the way, so we got a small little win on that one. Hood, Robin Hood. Hmm. Honestly, it's a little in no man's land. You can have resistance coming in somewhere around 22, 23. We're still in Shopville. If you want to take a swing at it, again, it's got a good upside to it. So we start losing pretty much all resistance, which is why I like the swing trade. We almost got to targets, didn't quite get there yet. Um, but I'm not seeing any real volume that's going to really hold us back if we break out. We have a mini double top, but even that double top is a higher low. So if this thing is coming down with the rest of the market, with kind of Bitcoin falling apart a little bit, and we get some kind of a bounce, again, not a bad candle to say, okay, I'm okay trying to take a stab here in a bullish direction. If we can hang on to this, we are also gapping it up above this 2134, so maybe a small little pullback into that VPOC for today would be even a good day trade spot. I think we got room to about 2217 for today. I don't see this thing breaking out today, and maybe I'm wrong, but I don't see it. That could also be a nice little bear trap wick. So again, if that wick breaks, yeah, just take my money, get me out. I'll look for a better entry. Um, but that is a little bit of a level of support. So if we're just kind of channeling and pulling back a little bit, that's not a bad entry for you. Day trade wise, I don't really have too much in it. Let's get Hood a little bit higher though. Not yet, but lost sales, peep switching to Pan W. Yeah, there's gonna be that fallout from crowd. They got to gain back a lot of trust, and that's not easy to do. Probably one of the hardest things in business to do. You screw up one time, you could be good for 45 years. You screw up one time, oh man, you gotta restart. You gotta restart. So we'll see how they handle it. Let me see what else we got. NSC. We got a really good gap up on earnings. So they beat by 6.92% earnings per share. You also beat by 5.34 million to the upside. Good little gap on it. I would probably expect a tiny pullback. Keep in mind, we were shorting into the earnings, so people weren't loving it prior. Some of those shorts might be on the trap side. I've got my first real resistance, 243.57. If we could start to break that, it could get a little crazy. But even at maybe 246.70. I'm not going to play this one bearish. I don't want to play this bearish, but if this one does kind of dip down a little bit, I would almost need a bigger pullback. Give me like a retest into like this 235.84. This is a tough one because it is up a lot. You do have some decent resistance above us. But at the same time, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days. 6 days of people going short, bringing it back under a good volume zone. I think this one probably ends up fading. I don't want to play it bearish, but I think this one ends up fading. Maybe you do get that little pop into 243.57 first, and then it starts to fade. But and then probably looking at this one next week for a bounce. But again, stocks do some wild things. We'll see. The other thing though, yeah, you are at the high end of this volume candle. So that's your last real volume zone. Anybody in that one? We could be squeezing some shorts. Again, it's not a heavy short float company, I don't think. All right, let's add this one to the list. Let's get this one higher. Let's see. I think it'd be a fun one to watch. If we can get a good setup on it, I'll try it bullish. But because I don't have a huge, let me just see one more thing on this thing too. Let me see one more thing. Uh, if we get the pullback, maybe we could hang into this 240.48 zone. And if we go wild, that would take us up to that 246. So that gives us about $6. All right, let's see if we can pull back at least $1.75. Let's see what happens there. Coin. COIN. First, let's look at BTC, USD. I think Bitcoin's kind of pushing up. Push it up, push it up, push it up. Let's go. Let's see. Interesting spot on coin. Beautiful looking hammer yesterday. So far, we're kind of skyrocketing. Where are we skyrocketing to? A little point of concern. So we are pushing right into that last little VPOC zone. Volume came in. Obviously, it was to the bear side. That was a good breakdown. This still could kind of be that retest into it. Otherwise, if we do get a close anywhere today above 67,423, I think that puts us into a little Bitcoin breakout, probably back to 71,222. Obviously, coin's going to pretty much respond to Bitcoin. So we have a gap and go on coin. We do have a lot of room on this one. So this one was pretty high on my list too. So I got 253.38. That gives us $11 to the higher side, providing a couple things happen. One, we get through that little resistance. The last one being 245.91. Almost want to see like a good high wave candle on this one. In fact, let me put on my other chart coin, just so right out of the gate we can see what kind of candle that we get on that one. But it's got some room. If we can get a little pullback somewhere, very small one, not asking for a lot, but would love a high wave candle. I think we got plenty of room on this one. So, yeah, I like it bullish. It does have a decent range on it. MSFT. Not really responding with the rest of the market yet. So we're still at the very low end of yesterday's candle. That wasn't completely bullish. So we are getting a little gap and go again, very, very small gap. I think probably a little bit more weakness in this one. And I think a better spot, we start getting down to this 412.45, but I also have untested VPOC all the way down to 406.88. So Microsoft, if you're going bullish, again, risk reward, there is some here, right? You're throwing your stops, probably the low of the day yesterday. Targets would be for me into like this 221.84, but it still looks a little bit weaker. I think there's some other names that could get a better move. Let's see, Marvell. How much time we got left? Marvell. We'll go to 3M and Palantir. I see there too. Yeah, so Marvell, we were looking at this one in the swing trade room. I was debating because it's got a lot of room to the downside. I think we break yesterday's candle, and I ended up just not taking it. But if we start breaking this candle, it was just more of the risk reward for me. But right now, you're opening inside day candle right at that 200. I would see what happens at this 200. Probably look for a fade out of the gate, down to this 64.89. And then honestly, we were looking to go bearish here, but I would not mind actually even going bullish at 64.89 and then just throw my stop below yesterday because I know that's where I'm wrong. So let's see if we get held up by that 200 on Marvell. Let me get this one a little bit higher as well. We got 2 minutes. Let's take a look at PLTR. PLTR has a little bit of room on it for sure. Great location for the open. The first spot, which is a good support, probably 27.51. If we could work our way through that, I'm looking for like 27.99. But it is a retest gap. See if you could get some kind of a pullback. First spot to get held up at 27.07. Next spot to try to get some kind of a bounce, 26.95. So I think a high wave on that one would be decent too. MMM. They had earnings. Big beat. All right, I got some of that one in my portfolio. That's nice. That's a nice. They beat by 14. Here's a company that dealt with a lot of lawsuits. They're starting to break out of that one finally. But yeah, good gap. Nice little almost $10 move. Fantastic. We are above all the volume. This one I think keeps going. Probably not at open. I think we probably get some kind of I would assume, pullback. But this is a heavily shorted, not heavily shorted, but there's a negative sentiment on this company at least. So if this one starts to break through, I think 114.54, I can see us back to 126. But that is the morning bell. Everybody out in YouTube land, I appreciate you joining us each and every day. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button, and I will see you next Monday.